It's me, finals week, and I'm freaking out. I really need to study. Is there any way that you could hook me up with some Adderall?
Hey, what's up, man?
You know my number.
Alex.
Thank you. Bye.
So I got this big final paper due tomorrow, and I was wondering if you had any Adderall that you could.
Sorry, it's late, I know, but I'm working on a big paper.
I'm really tired from all this work.
Quarter again, I had this really big paper, and I was really wondering if you could do me that huge favor.
I was wondering if I might be able to swing by and pick up a few energy pills to make it happen. Yeah, call me. I'll be up all night.
Call me back. Bye.
Freeze! I'm Baker. Put your hands in the air. Give me all your money.
I'm a third-year marine biology student. The quarter is winding down and finals are approaching, so as the days go down, I'm getting more and more stressed and really feeling like I'm going to need to study.
How do you usually study for your final?
The way I like to do is have fun the entire quarter and then just cram all the pain into one night. The sun comes up before I'm done studying, but I always get it done and everything works out to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I was studying for a midterm, one of my friends asked me if I had ever used Adderall, which is an ADD medication. And I had said no, and that I didn't want to try it for the first time the day before a major midterm. It's a midterm I had to do really well on because I hadn't done well on the first one. And she just said, it'll be totally fine, like everybody does it. And I can't believe I actually gave into like that kind of peer pressure, but I was like, okay, whatever, I'll try it, can't hurt. And yeah, I tried it and I studied for 12 hours straight without like ever breaking concentration, so. Well, I know some friends who I could get them for free from, and I know some friends who sell them. A lot of people sell them for at least a couple dollars a pill. And actually the person who I take them with the most, who I have taken them with, has a sibling who has ADD. Or her parents thought that she should take medication for it. So I know that it's even loosely prescribed if a doctor would prescribe it to a child just because the parents want to try it for the child. Friend's younger sister is totally happy about getting them because now she could take them for her own purposes when she wants them or needs them. For instance, like when she has to study. And then she could also give them to my friend, and she's able to use them for her benefit. So I think from a utilitarian standpoint, like whether or not there's more good or bad coming out of it, I think there's more good.
Freeze! I'm Baker. Put your hands in the air. Give me all your money.
I choose to take it with tea. It's just a personal choice.
Your hands in the air. Your hands in the air.
Right.
Feels like a ritualistic. Here it starts.
Ooh, look at that. Doesn't that look tempting? Which one shall I choose?
What are the options? Ancient what?
Ancient peoples of the American Southwest, life in the Pueblo, or identity, feasting, and the archaeology of the greater Southwest.
I got diagnosed with ADD when I was 7. I was 7 when I first got diagnosed. My parents took me to a neurologist, a pediatric neurologist, and she did a whole bunch of tests. I can't remember a lot of them now, but they were just really simple tests, and basically they were supposed to indicate whether or not I had ADD, ADHD, or if I didn't have it at all. And ADHD was something that I didn't have. I wasn't one of those kids that could, that was like bouncing off the walls. But I did have a tendency not to be able to stand still. I couldn't, my hands always had to be moving when I was talking. I always got distracted. This is all of these things that my teachers had told my parents that kind of pushed them in the direction that maybe I had this disorder. When I was younger, I took Ritalin for a little while, and then my parents took me off because they didn't like the side effects that was happening.
What was happening?
Side effects were insomnia. I wouldn't be able to sleep until 3 in the morning. Lack of eating. I wouldn't eat all day because it's just appetite suppressant. You just don't eat at all. My hands would be very, very shaky, especially because I hadn't been eating. So it's almost like you're on speed. You're constantly cracked out, it's crazy. So my parents took me off of that, and then when I was 13, I asked to go back on it again, and that's when I started kind of taking it into my own hands, taking more and more and more. I started to take them, and after the first 2 weeks, like I said, everything leveled out, and I didn't like that. I liked the feeling of being cracked out. I liked that jittery feeling, and I liked the appetite suppressants, and I liked the fact that, I was constantly moving and energized and awake. And I started upping the dosage with the pills that I was taking. And then, that's when my parents found out. Didn't take medication for almost 5 years. I just decided not to. And then recently, this summer, I was like, I need something that'll help me because, apparently I can't do this on my own. My school, I was barely going to school. So I went to the doctor and I got Adderall. It kind of helps you organize things. You got to think of your brain like a whole mess of papers. And what the medication does is just separate all those papers into piles and put them in drawers. And it helps you just kind of if you're doing homework, it kind of helps you sit down and focus on your homework. When you're on the medication, it's all a matter of learning how to deal when you're off the medication. So when you're on the medication, it's a matter of being aware of how you're organizing, how you're behaving in a certain way, so that when you're off the medication, you can kind of mimic those behaviors and be organized and behave in a certain way even when you're off the medication. Because this isn't a lifetime thing. You can't be on Adderall for the rest of your life. When I'm taking medication now, I have to make sure that within the period that it might kick in, it kicks in usually in about an hour or so. Mm-hmm. Within that period, I have to be doing something productive, because if I'm on the computer, looking at MySpace or just, looking at random web pages and the medicine kicks in, I will focus on being on MySpace or looking at random web pages for the duration of the medication.
That they gave to the kamikazes in Japan.
Oh, really? Methamphetamine?
Yeah, I think so. Wow. That way they felt like doing anything, that's why they didn't care about crashing themselves.
Chicken my email.
Oh.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah. But I do it because I really trust the people.
Yeah, so I'll just...
And I know that I'm gonna become more and more focused.
Oh, no.
But for now, you know.
I feel some mild physical effects, but my concentration's not particularly good at all, actually. Maybe it'll get a bit better. Maybe I need a coffee.
I know.
Just good old-fashioned coffee.
Yeah.
Let's get back to basics. If you took these and you were on your own just studying, then you'd go boom and just focus. But when you've got a room full of people and a camera and, you know, stuff to do, then you focus on that.
Shit, I feel so bad.
She's just dancing to her own beat.
No, I really gotta work. So I might better. Focus.
Look at him. I know it, I love him.
So Miles, do you think you're gonna do something with your pueblo?
Yeah, I'm gonna get into it.
12:55.
1 hour and a half. And Miles read 1 page.
Pretty much.
1 page.
Oh, we lost Mireia.
And I've just been jumping from Photoshop to Final Cut to coffee to just talking.
Do you know people that use Ritalin or Adderall without
Prescription?
prescription?
Yeah, everyone in the world does. I know very few people that don't. Usually it gets to the point where they disapprove and then they'll have like a major project or a final and they call me and they're all like, I need an Adderall, like desperately. Yeah, I know very few people that don't actually or haven't tried it in their lifetime. Like a 10 milligram pill can affect them for hours and hours and hours. A 10 milligram pill for me does nothing. But a 10 milligram pill for them just keeps them up, makes them all cracked out, you know. Most of the people take a pill and then they drink a cup of coffee and the caffeine kind of helps them, the medicine kick in. A 10 milligram pill, depending, usually they go for like $3 or $4. I usually sell them for $5. 20 milligram, about $8. I usually sell them for $10. It's all about the market and who's willing to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are willing to pay $5 for a 10 milligram pill. As expensive as that is, they're willing to pay for it. So, for example, one of my prescription bottles could probably bring me in about $600 a bottle if I sold all of them, maybe a little bit more. You know, with the occasional like taking some for myself and like giving some to friends and whatnot. Probably bring me about $600 a pill if I sold them.
And how long? How
I can usually move about 90 pills depending on what, you know, if there's like finals week or midterm week. And during a normal week, I can probably move them in about 2 weeks. All of them.
Now it's
right now, I could probably sell them in like 4 days. But during finals, I don't usually like to sell them because it's just like everyone's all cracked out as is from studying for finals. They don't need the pills to kill them, you know what I mean? Because if you go 10 hours without eating and you take the pill and you don't have ADD, you go 10 hours without eating and all you're drinking is coffee and Red Bull and the Adderall, you're going to come down after 10 hours and you're going to crash hard. You're going to crash really, really badly because it's almost like coming down from cocaine or crystal methamphetamine. It's like the crash is just like you're up here and then boom, you're down. And it's really, really bad and it's really hard. So they have to eat something, otherwise they're just going to lose it, they're going to faint, they're going to pass out, they're going to do something that's just, you know, their head's going to explode. And water, lots and lots of water. So these are 10 milligram pills.
Can I buy one?
Just give them to you. It's finals week.
Freeze! I'm a baker. Put your hands in the air. Give me all your money.
They start kids off with 10 milligrams, you know, to see how it affects them, and then they slowly bump it up to 20, like what we took. But full-grown man, you know.
I require more of most things anyway.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah. That's why we should have given him 2 pills, you know. Yeah.
Do you have another one or?
You can call him. I have the leftover from the one you
Yeah?
gave me. Yeah. It's just gonna be like another 10, so you'll be taking 30.
I could. Yeah, I'll hit it.
Yeah.
If you want, unless you want to have it.
We have no, I'm right here. It's in the envelope. Let me see how to open it so it doesn't spill out. Do you see like the small little orange and white beads on the edge?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you just want to tear or just like bite off the edge of the envelope.
I might just put it onto a bit of paper.
Let me spoon feed it to you, hon.
Righto. That's the way to go.
There you go.
Oh, look at these little fellas.
Yeah.
Hello.
How you doing there, buddy?
Shake, shake, shake.
I so feel like a druggie right now.
Looks devious.
What are you doing, Mireya?
Looks like she's finding a flow.
I was thinking, I'm writing an email that I was supposed to send like a long time ago, and I feel like comfortable. I don't feel like my God, I just keep going.
Cool.
Yeah, I can feel it. I feel like more focused. And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna start working. I swear.
I'm just having a final in a few days, so I'm kind of cramming it, and I study in the Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering Department, PhD. Surprisingly, yes, I have been diagnosed with it, and I was also prescribed some medicine when that was several years ago. Well, actually, I just really took it in the mornings to go to school, and I had some on my morning classes. I felt like maybe I had more focus, and I didn't take it daily, and I took it during when I had the prescription. I took it for every exam I had. In the morning and everything, I think I could have controlled my own concentration and focus, and I think it was unnecessary to even take the medicine, so I never continued. I made good grades, and I felt like medicine wouldn't help me anyway. So anyway, I enjoyed being hyperactive, I guess, if they said back then. No, actually, well, yeah, for one long series of tests in the winter, I did, and I hated it, actually. I stayed up for about 90 hours and had 5 hours of sleep, and my kidneys felt like they had solid rocks of granite through it. I was just dehydrated. But it was that final week of the exams whenever I couldn't even sleep, and I tried, believe me, I tried, but it was so hard to fall asleep, so I despised the pills. What did I trade the pills for? Just various items, but no, mostly candy bars and chocolate. I already told you that. I like chocolate.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I told 19 or 20. But I still like chocolate. That's what I'll eat. I'll eat chocolate and drink some coffee, and I'll study and listen to music. So that works for me without any substances.
I have been involved for quite a few years now in the study of the effects of mindful awareness on the brain. In the last, say, 10 to 15 years especially, it's really become what can you do instead of using drugs, or to be even more accurate, and this is very, very important, what can you do with your mind to supplement the effects of drugs so that you can make small amounts of medication more effective. One of the things that have happened in attention deficit disorder is the culture of medication, the drug culture, has particularly dominated the approach to treatment in that field. It's not difficult to know why it's easy to sell the public on the fact that these drugs are helpful, that they work. The problem is, what do they do to the person's view of themselves, to the person's capacity to focus their attention when they're not on the drug, to the notion of becoming dependent on on believing that you can't focus your attention without taking this drug. I mean, and then the issue becomes one of abusing the drug and living in a drug culture. And then there are, what we now know, there are risks for developing heart problems, etc. So, and then there are just plain old ordinary medical problems that arise. So, hey, it's just, easier. It's a lot easier to learn how to write a prescription, to, make a diagnosis, write a prescription, and manage these drugs. And it's a lot less labor intensive than trying to teach, kids who have attention focusing problems how to do cognitive training, attention focusing training. There are definitely people working on that now, though, and that's a growing area.
But do you believe it is a disease?
There's no question that to a significant... The only controversy is where the diagnostic threshold is. I mean, there is a threshold above which any fair-minded observer would acknowledge this is a physiological problem. This kid has, quote-unquote, a medical problem. The controversy is where you draw the line. And like I'm saying, there's a lot of cultural and economic factors that say push the threshold down, because when you take these drugs, you're going to get beneficial effects in any event. I mean, you don't have to have a condition to have stimulant drugs improve your function. Stimulant drugs do improve your function. That's part of what's seductive about the desire to pull the threshold down and call things that probably aren't, quote-unquote, a medical problem, just to treat it like a medical problem, because you get the positive result by doing that. The only problem with calling it a disease is that you give speed as the treatment. If you didn't give speed as the treatment, who cares what you would call it? If we say, hey, all of our capacities to have attention should be better, and that way we all have attention deficits, and we should train our mind to focus better, because that'll make our brain work better, and that was what we did, what difference would it make if you called it a condition? Who cares? It's this culture of materialism and this culture of drug use that makes the fact that it's been medicalized so detrimental, because it's disempowering. It strips the person's capacity to believe that through their willful focus alone, they can cause very real changes in how their brain works. That's the problem.
What time is it, Mireya?
2:54.
So, how much work did you get done tonight?
Not much. I've just found some possibilities.
It's been a roller coaster up and down. I've had energy and now I'm just blah. And apparently this really doesn't work because I can't find my car keys and I don't remember where I put them. So Adderall, I don't know.
Your car keys.
Maybe I just need a stronger dosage or something. Yeah.
Vad är Mitchell?
Well, I can say at this point that we're about to have a beer. The study's not going to happen, and it didn't happen, but I'm really looking forward to a beer.